Even investment advisors will tell you a 401k will simply not get you to retirement. Most doctors are W-2 income earners. That means they are paying high taxes, and they're encouraged by their financial advisors and others to utilize their tax-deferred savings accounts like 401ks, which sounds like a great idea, but by itself is just simply not enough. What happens in a 401k? First of all, your investment options are limited, and these are generally mutual funds that have very low rates of return because they have to guarantee that you won't lose your capital. So they are not meant for aggressive growth. And when you are just completely relying on these 401ks and not really looking outside of that, not trying to diversify your investments or find higher rates of return, you are going to be missing out. A lot of people tout that the stock market is growing at a rate of 10%, or S&P 500 returns are 10% per year on average. But is that really what's happening in your portfolio? No, it's not. Your rate of return in your 401k is probably going to be around 5%. And when you take into account that you start in your 30s as a doctor and you're burning out in your 50s, it's simply not enough time to really generate the kind of returns you would need to retire. And that is why I'm so passionate about doctors learning about investment strategies. Even if you want to stay in the stock market, learn how to do it to maximize your returns. Don't just park your money in a 401k. And also, we've got to start much earlier and be far more conservative in our spending and far more aggressive in our savings and investing in order to be where we need to be for our retirement. And you have to take into account inflation. Inflation is usually 4% per year on average. And then you've got to take into account your taxes that you are going to pay on those tax deferred accounts. When you withdraw your income from those accounts after retirement, you are going to pay taxes on them. So if you take into account inflation and taxes, you're really not left with very much. And then on top of that, you're paying fees on the funds and to your advisors. So if you add all that up, you're really not making even 5%. So that's why it's so important to get educated and get informed about what are these fees, where are they, and where are you being charged? Is it at the custodial level? Is it at the advisor level? Is it both? And likely it is. So you are getting charged on multiple levels, and then you're barely keeping up with inflation with your rates of return. And then on top of that, you're going to pay taxes at the end of the day. So it's just simply not a winning strategy. It's simply not adequate. And a lot of doctors getting into their 50s and 60s are finding that out the hard way. The real risk is not investing strategically to maximize your return and actually create the kind of wealth you're going to need if you ever want to retire. Alternative investments simply provide a higher rate of return. Yes, they're risky if you don't do it carefully, and that's why we're here to provide education and vet sponsors to help you do it safely. Alternative investments provide a hedge against inflation and the volatility of the stock market, so you can preserve your capital and your savings and eventually retire comfortably. Most doctors play safe with their money. They think investing in their 401k, they're going to be set, but that's simply not the case. You're not going to be set. In fact, you're going to find out you're way behind. The wealthiest doctors don't simply invest in the stock market. They diversify their portfolio. They take advantage of alternative investments and smart tax strategies. If you're tired of working, it's time to start thinking of how to make your money work for you. So get in touch with the Doctor Investor and get into our community so you can really leverage our network and our resources to maximize your wealth strategies. I'm Dr. Shamim Nazir. I've been a board-certified emergency physician for 25 years. And I have done all the right things that were told to me to do, and I thought I was following a plan. But I found out in my 50s that that plan was simply not going to work. And that's when I started looking into alternative investments and specifically commercial real estate. And it's certainly not the path for everyone, but I'm very passionate that doctors get educated about their choices. But I'm very passionate that doctors get informed and educated about their choices and not simply rely on financial planners or investment advisors. They are great and they are helpful, but we have to be informed and we have to be involved in our own financial strategies. So if you're interested in learning more about the Doctor Investor and what we have to offer, join our community and learn from our industry experts. We have live Q&As and live webinars where you get to ask these difficult questions about why is my retirement account not growing? What are the fees? Or what are alternative investments and which ones are best suitable for you? Doctors, it's time to be a doctor investor. Don't just sit on the sidelines, get in the action.